Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these numbers while we run the headlines here. R3 DTCC and $2.4 quadrillion worth of settlement a year. We need to talk about that and the Ripple XRP connection in depth, ladies and gentlemen. And when might it launch? We're going to talk about it because it's already live to an extent. But how about this one? This is even more really compelling to XRP holders today. World Economic Forum, have they revealed the secret at how to block out retail XRP holders? I think we have some evidence for you to see today. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. It's $1,067 billion according to CoinPeprika. Make sure you download that app. I've had so much fun with this app. I tell you, looking at the all-time highs and total circulating supply to these things that I'm interested in. We're going to do a whole video where we specialize on what I'm looking at, what I'm invested in, and where things are right now, what I'm focused on accumulating. And you guys can make up your own mind, not financial advice. This morning, Bitcoin 21,400 plus, Ethereum 1,600 plus, XRP is 34 cents, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and start with this. Link2.com is where you can get the best offerings for private equity. Make no mistake about that. And I tell you, Link2 is doing such a good job. They're sold out right now. And if you can get more, you better consider yourself lucky. I want more, and the door got shut on me. And I tell you something else. Door got shut on me on Zipline too. Fully subscribed. Will they get more? I hope so, but I don't know. And I tell you what, if you're not sure, you better act now, because when it comes to the other offerings on this platform, they are offering right now at discounted rate $39 a share for Ripple, which is way down from where it was, $6 from $7.50 a share for Uphold, and it just goes on and on and on. But don't mess around, because it won't be long. You're going to see fully subscribed, and one of these days you won't be able to get any more. Click the link underneath the video, even if you're already a member of Link2. Kava pays out for June and July, and they've been sent out, says Scott Stewart here. 100% of Kava Rise monthly rewards are $3.5 million sent to users. I thought to myself, I've got to find out more what the hell's going on over there. Shout out to Scott and Kava Networks, no doubt about it. Make sure you give them a like and follow. Kava is really crushing the Cosmos ecosystem, being the leader in total value locked up in smart contracts. Right now, this is interesting. Look at the total XRP trade volume here. 13, what is this? Hundreds, thousands, million, billion. 13 billion plus. And we see the majority of that going through Kraken. Kraken holding a lot of XRP, new liquidity providers. One has to wonder. We'll keep an eye on it. Now, this is where we get into this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to unpack this as quickly and as tightly as possible. The World Economic Forum has officially announced Ripple as a partner on their website, right? Now, we know this, and we have known, not breaking news, but it's important to know this for where we're going. Back in 2020, we covered extensively here how the WEF, World Economic Central Bank Digital Currency Policymaker Toolkit, up at the top left here, showed everyone in the world that crypto assets designed for inter or intra-bank payments and settlement, JPM coin and XRP, right there. Now let's keep moving. I'm going to move quickly now. This is from Nathan Price. Shout out to you, Nathan, for this incredible work. World Economic Forum website is where this information came from, and the future of financial infrastructure, talking at how blockchain can reshape financial services, ladies and gentlemen. We go through this, and there's compelling information in this that really suggests about the formation and operation of syndicated bank loans, syndicated loan participation. So let me start right here. Could blockchain push syndicated loans over the regulatory edge? First of all, what are syndicated loans? I'm going to tell you what they are. I have it right here for us. Syndicated loan definition, also known as syndicated loan or syndicated bank facility, is a financing offered by a group of lenders referred to as a syndicate who work together. And honestly, As far as the Federal Reserve says, they go on to say a syndicated loan is a loan extended by a group of financial institutions, a loan syndicate, to a single borrower. Syndicates often include both banks and non-bank financial institutions, such as collateralized loan obligation structures known as CLOs. But let's get back to this diagram here very quickly here. Because what is so important is it talks about the SEC here, and it talks about applying the current test for when a promissory note is a security. Reves versus your Ernst & Young. This is the Reves test that I've been pounding the ground about for a very long time. And in 2016, we see Perkins Coie talking about this as well when it comes to syndicated loans and the incorporation of using something like distributed ledger technology and blockchain. Then we come to the WEF document here, restricting investors. It talks about the SEC also filed a brief arguing that syndicated loan participations were securities, although the appellate court concluded they were not. The use of distributed ledgers could promote common trading in syndicated loans with investment rather than commercial motivations, perhaps pushing the first and second factors over the brink and landing syndicated loans in security land. It goes on to say, restricting investors might help. Lenders also exploring the use of blockchain to facilitate the formation of operation of syndicates. Why am I talking about syndicated loans? What is RippleNet? What is the lending program that Ripple has launched? Could it be syndicated loans? This collaboration and cooperation between all the RippleNet partners, banks and non-banks alike, providing loans? This comes back to the Reves test, ladies and gentlemen. If these financial institutions use technology to reduce settlement times from several weeks to a day or two, however, this could broaden the secondary market and funded and invited consideration of their classification as securities. It goes on to say, investors' expectations may become murkier. However, if a broad range of investors naively acquire loans, if attorneys can find sympathetic plaintiffs who lost money in syndicated loans, this could provide the impetus for a court to reclassify the loans as securities, which they obviously do not want to be. If syndicated loans were treated as securities, they would need to comply with the requirements for private placements. It says here, this suggests that it may be worthwhile to restrict users of the new system to qualified institutional buyers, accredited investors, basically, right? Or accredited investors. It would also allow the system to convert the private placement regime if a court ever rules adversely on the exclusion of syndicated loans from the definition of securities. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that Nathan Price has really just validated everything I've been saying about the Reves test being where this case truly is. This is not about the Howey case at all. Don't forget that RippleNet does settlement in seconds, not days, deliver real-time global payments without tying up capital in destination markets. Our proven technology global market enable remittances, small, medium enterprise payments, disbursements and treasury flows that are faster. And then the AWS definition of RippleNet. RippleNet is a decentralized global network of banks and payment providers using Ripple's distributed financial technology, which provides real-time messaging, clearing, and settlement of financial transactions. Again, I showed you what the syndicated loan means and implies, and it certainly sounds like it could apply to RippleNet. Now let's change gears very quickly to the news of R3 and Corda's platform and the DTCC. This is very exciting news. There's no question about this, right? But I want to show people this very quickly here. Let's look at this. R3 has been in bed with Ripple a long time, all the way back to 2016. We also know that R3 had a diagram with the Corda settler showing the XRP network right here, certainly as a part of that construct. Now, what's interesting is we do also know that R3 has also been in a lawsuit with Ripple, and they split and parted ways. It was a closed confidential settlement, but it would appear that XRP was obviously awarded to some degree to R3. They haven't done much fundraising since 2018. They may be using those XRP bags or getting ready to. All I know is that we're at this moment now. And that is exciting, that R3's Corda is the underlying DLT for its Project AN settlement platform, which is now live in parallel production environment. Keep that in mind as we move through this, ladies and gentlemen. Because what it talks about here, and look, we know, and just in highlight here, Barclays, BNY, Ripple Partners. Interesting. Credit Suisse, been working with Ripple for a long time. Citi. I mean, there's many others in here. I'm not going to go through that. What I want to focus on really going through this is understanding this. Has gone live in parallel production environment. Now, that's a key statement. It's a key statement for me because it reminds me of the Bank of England executive director when she talked about payments innovation in 2019 or 2020 for the Bank of England, and she expected a big bang cutover. Because what you have with real-time gross settlement system, RTGS, is the core ledger supporting payment transactions worth hundreds of billions of pounds a day, and we can't have some members on it while others are not. After talks, the Bank of England internal IT department, it is likely the bank will keep the existing system up and running alongside the new one for a period as a fallback. So if there was any problem, we know we could recover back to that. Now that brings me directly back to this. Has gone live in parallel production environment. This, I believe, could possibly be that fallback period. That would be extremely, extremely exciting. I also want to run through this in this particular instance because I think this is really what we need to get out of this. Digitized assets. That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. New opportunities to drive greater efficiencies in risk management and cost savings for the industry. Digitized assets and emerging technology like DLT are shaping the evolving financial services landscape. Now, that tells me that they're phasing this in, and it even says it down here. With production, it goes on to say, it says, with production parallel now live, DTCC is working closely with its clients on a phased expansion of the platform. So does it mean that they're using digital assets right now? No, it does not. But it does mean that it is designed to, and that is exactly where it's going. With digitized assets and DLT, this is exactly the phased expansion building to that final goal, that destination, where we can see the support and being built for net zero settlement cycle from where we currently are today, right? And then that brings us to the vote that happened. We know that they said, indeed, they are working with settlement. In DLT and settlement, and they vote unanimously to do so. Now, I'm going to give you the first 25 seconds of this.
The ever-increasing pace of advancements in technology, including distributed ledger technology, further shortening the standard settlement cycle in the near future may be both desirable and feasible. Indeed, some such efforts are already underway.
You damn right they are, just like R3's relationship with the DTCC in the final vote.
Actually exists today, not just for same-day affirmation, confirmation, and allocations, but even for same-day settlement. How do commissioners vote on the division's recommendations to amend the Securities Exchange Act on clearing and settling?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And they vote unanimously to get the job done. And then I come to this diagram, which I showed you the other day, which I think is so important for a couple reasons. One, it shows XRP is wholesale. Fungible and wholesale is the group that it's in here. Well, what's interesting about that to me is wholesale, right? And we know from the World Economic Forum document, right? What do we know? It's for wholesale, back-end wholesale CBDC solutions. It's all right here, ladies and gentlemen. What we're waiting for now is to get more confirmation about the Reves test and about the idea of whether it's time to pivot and turn away from the retail side to the institutional side. Because the real value for XRP and the network of XRP and the financial system is going to require that the liquidity and utility come from the same place, them, not us. Now, where does that put us in the end of this? I'm not sure yet, but we'll follow it to find out. But then notice this right here. What is an EIB bond? Well, I looked at this. This is another area of growth. This is the European Investment Bank. The European Investment Bank is the lending arm of the European Union. We are the biggest multilateral financial institution in the world and one of the largest providers of climate finance. Well, doesn't that just line perfectly with Ripple and XRP? Because they are working on carbon neutral solutions right here in carbon credits. And they put $100 million investment towards just such an initiative. This just keeps getting bigger, ladies and gentlemen. Much, much bigger. Want some fun facts here? Here's some fun facts. The DTCC parallel production live with R3 Corda platform. Corda Settler can settle with digital assets like XRP and XDC and certain others. The CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, cites, in fact, Swift GPI and Ripple right here, which they call a virtual currency XRP, as effective solutions for those particular advancements in cross-border payments as well. So what we take away from this is simply this. Then we come down to the Fed, the Bank of Governors, right, and the CFPB are FSOC members. And this is important. Why? Because the DTCC is a systemically important designated entity. And that's important because the CFPB is a member of FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, and so is the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, for which now Ripple former advisor Michael S. Barr is on. So now we have a systemically important entity designating into the use and production of distributed ledger technology with the expansion phasing in digital assets in the near term. That is extremely exciting. And knowing that Michael S. Barr, with the kind of experience not only with Ripple, but blockchain and crypto digital assets, and CFPB already really anointing Ripple and XRP as a solution for cross-border payments, this just got a lot better, a lot quicker, ladies and gentlemen. And it makes me think of this. Come back to not only where Brad Garlinghouse says that it allowed them to flip the switch for payments and on-demand liquidity when they need it. And that moment is coming, but also listen to what he goes on about with the Ripple lending program, which could turn into syndicated loans coming from RippleNet, and whether the Reves test determines that that note, XRP, is a security or not.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening.
Keep listening.
In fact, 3 out of 5 of our highest transacting customers in 2020 have now upgraded to ODL to leverage the benefits of XRP-powered payments for their business. It's been about a year now since we launched another product called Line of Credit. Line of Credit offers the ability to have delayed payment terms for our ODL customers. Now, this product came about by listening to our customers' pain points, listening to them around the limited access to working capital, the expense of working capital, as a huge barrier to growth and their ability to scale. If you look backwards, fintechs and payment service providers, PSPs, were creating bespoke credit arrangements with each partner in each destination market with more overhead and more management. Ripple's product Line of Credit solves this problem by providing upfront access to capital for every market through one simple credit arrangement, simplifying access to financial solutions that accelerate business performance and allow them to scale. We have multiple customers using Line of Credit today to access capital on demand. Not surprisingly, this is a rapidly growing new offering for our RippleNet customers.
Which really sounds a lot like what we're talking about here is the ability to really loan syndicated loans, right? Syndicated loans to other customers. Question now is will those syndicated loans from RippleNet partners to their customers become securities or not? And whether they do or not, will XRP holders in the retail investor world be able to continue to hold them and get them in the manner that we used to? Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Hit that like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. This show just got a whole lot better. I'll catch all of you on the next one.